won the American Music Award that year. It was a 6.6 earthquake on the Richter scale in Los Angeles. We probably all remember this. The Zapatistas were raising hell in Mexico. And then there was something going on in Africa, a country called Rwanda, which up until the last month of that conflict seemed to have escaped the attention of an American president and the American people. It was brought to life in various ways. The most obvious way was the atrocity, the genocide which occurred. More than 800,000 people were said to have died during the genocide in Rwanda. We've seen various depictions of this movie, of this situation, the most prominent, of course, being Hotel Rwanda. That movie, at this point, is being contested. There's questions about its authenticity. There's questions about the role of the hotel owner, or I should say manager, in Hotel Rwanda. Yet it's still brought to bear for many people a situation they had not heard of. If there's anything that has ever, in my lifetime, brought a situation to bear that made you think how human beings can kill one another. We've talked about it in the context of the Holocaust. We've talked about it in the context of Cambodia and Khmer Rouge. It seems to happen over and over and over again. This movie this evening, Kinya, brought to bear, brought to mind, reminds us again of genocide, reminds us that this type of thing can happen and could possibly happen again. I'd like to talk to our panel about genocide, about how do you prevent this type of thing, but also about the lessons of this movie. Reconciliation, the notion of people of various religious backgrounds coming together, the notion of what is a Tutsi, what is a Hutu, what is a tribe, what is a clan, what causes people to kill each other, and what causes them to come together. I'd like to start off by asking the filmmakers here, what inspired you to go back to this topic, which had been told and told and told again? I had never seen it quite told this way. Let's start off.
As tradition, have before. Thank you so much for
the
introduction. But we have a rule that we sit here humbly on the shoulders of all of our cast and crew and all the people in Rwanda who share their stories with us. Without them, we don't have a movie. And so, on behalf of all of them, I'd like to thank you all for being here. Alfred Hitchcock has a saying about filmmaking that a film does not exist without an audience. And so the fact that Rossburg Community College and Brandeis and all the organizations that have come together to make this possible and to bring you all into this room to be here, and all of you could be somewhere else tonight, you could be anywhere this evening. You being here helped fulfill the film contract. So I just wanted to extend our deepest gratitude and say thank you so much for being here and helping us complete our film. With that said, this is probably, I don't know if Ishmael can say to this is probably the most diverse audience we've ever had. In terms of age, in terms of race, in terms of religion, there's a lot of things happening in this room. We've had large audiences, but they've always been kind of monotone on respects of this and that here and there, but this audience was really nice, so I just wanted to say thank you to our great audience. So this film came about, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in West Africa for a couple years. I left the Peace Corps to go to NYU Graduate Film School. One of my buddies from the Peace Corps ended up in West Africa, jumped into a taxi cab, and a Rwandan genocide survivor was driving the cab. And that survivor was Ishmael. And Ishmael was playing Bruce Springsteen, and they hit it off. Ishmael and he became good friends, and Ishmael took him around the country. And Ishmael told Josh he wanted to, he really loved filmmaking. So Ishmael started emailing me. We emailed back and forth for several years. And Ishmael had this story, this angle on the story that I had never heard, of how Muslims saved lives during the genocide. And I thought it was criminal that we here in the United States, that something like that could happen, such a big part of the story, and we had no clue that that happened. Not even a mention in any of the newspapers or the media. And Ishmael wanted to tell that story, and I said, absolutely, I'll come to Rwanda and help you. And I flew over there, and we worked together. He had done research with people who actually stayed in the mosque and the madrasas for about a year and a half before I even got involved. So when I got there, I had all this foundation to build off of. And then I met people who lived through the genocide, and we didn't have much time to put this project together. The first draft was 2 weeks, and we only did one draft. I got extended to about a month, but we had to shoot it in 16 days. Ishmael got a grant from the European Commission, about $250,000. Brought in a crew of international filmmakers, and with grit and a lot of persistence, we made it happen.
You mentioned so much on this film, what you cover, most of the time. I wanted to bring this story because I want to teach people forgiveness. If you're a survivor and the next day the hard drive made a phone, start thinking about forgiving. So I want to bring a story of forgiveness and from the word plan of forgiveness. That was the mission. Divided different from the system of the assistant. So we the talent to stand down and make my own film.
But in order to talk about forgiveness, you had to convey just what they were forgiving, which was something enormous. To forgive something that is, so humongous, so extraordinary in terms of our lives and our deaths. What made you want to forgive?
As a survivor, I wanted to forgive because I wanted to move ahead.
Are you Rwandan or you Tutsi?
I'm a runner. That's enough. I'm a runner. That's enough. I don't believe in tribal things because this comes from colonialism. Managing, have someone divided as Hutu and Tutsi. And at the end of the day, I realized that. And at the end of the day, I realized that I'm a Rwandan. We've got the same love as well. We share the same language, we share the same food, we share everything. But you know what happens? This colonialism comes to Rwanda and they divided us. They have their own missions. So, don't call myself Hutu or Tutsi or Tua. I'm just one. Thank you.
Now, this panel, every single person here has dealt with the issues of reconciliation, of mediation, of basically trying to create pathways, if you will, to peace. Can you talk about, in your own ways, how this particular film and the whole issue of genocide, how it plays into people's everyday lives? It's not as though that's something people think about every single day, but some people who have experienced it certainly do. And there's also the notion that it could happen again. Can you talk about that as part of how you conduct your daily work? Either one. The three of you, because the three of you, in fact, that's the work you engage in. Lee, would you like to? Okay.